Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of Africa Made, brought to you by Dow Athletics. My name is Yannick Kreis, and I'm a fashion entrepreneur, as well as a co-founder and CEO of Dow Athletics. Africa Made is a podcast series that seeks to demystify greatness by profiling some of the most successful athletes and individuals from the continent who have gone on to blaze an international trail. In this episode, we are joined by our very own, the illustrious Springbok rugby legend, Francois Hougaard. Francois, welcome back to the show, brother. How you doing?
Boys, back in the building. It's nice to join you guys again. What's up?
Welcome, brother. Obviously, we're back. This is episode 2. My name is Yannick Kreis. I'm the co-founder of Dow. I'm a fashion, media, and advertising entrepreneur as well. So we obviously had an amazing episode 1. So we're back for episode 2. So shout out to my brothers. I think we're about to have like a very lekker conversation. I've got my, nice little red wine, Cap Sav, on deck. So, let's have a good convo, boys.
Let's kick off. Francois, people are so intrigued by your story, your career, and, your transition into business. And, you've been in the spotlight for many years now. So let's kick off with a conversation around your youth. Tell us about where you grew up and how you fell in love with rugby.
My childhood, I was born in Paarl. Shortly after that, we moved to Robertson, where I basically grew up, where everything started, The thing I got into rugby, I was kind of born into it. My dad obviously played rugby, from a young age, from when I could remember, I basically, played the game. I had this one friend who I always used to play, like you play football in the back of your garden. I had one friend who I always used to play rugby against, and I think that's where the memories start and where, everything kicked off,
Interesting. I mean, for the most part, a lot of the people that we spoke to putting this show together have all said that, the transition was so natural. And, falling in love with the game was as natural as just, chilling in the backyard, having a braai with the parents, with the family, etc. So it's very interesting, as we start
I think I mainly, having fun with your friends. I think that's how you fall in love with any game. I think I just grew up with rugby, like you guys love football and you grew up with football. Playing rugby, I fell in love with the game at a very young age. And kind of stuck to it, from then on.
Got you. And tell us a bit about who, like the heroes, your sporting heroes were.
So obviously I think when I was young, I obviously didn't know what position I played, but you always go from the guys the Brian Abanas, Francois Hougaard, that time, and obviously the further I got into the game. US became a very big hero of mine. I think, obviously playing 9, he was a massive, massive hero. Obviously, Francois Hougaard captaining 95 World Cup. And I don't even have to say anything about US. He is a massive legend. Obviously later on, people like Brian Abana, had a massive influence in my life, in my rugby career. And later on, obviously became friends with him. But there's so many guys that I looked up to, during my career. And, there's obviously a stage where you see these people and you put them on such a big pedestal. And then before you know it, you actually, become friends with them and join them on the pitch. And it's pretty special, you would never, ever imagine that. And, that became true. And it's obviously very, very special and will always, stay close to me.
That's amazing. I think, like most of, the average kids growing up, we didn't have, like you said, that it's crazy, you start off as having them as heroes and then you transition into, being on the same pedestal as them, should we say. I think for most kids, so that's your version of the reality. I think for most kids it's different because, most kids never get to transition into being that pro. So I think the interesting correlation is like, if I look at myself, so I played soccer, Nick played soccer, because we didn't turn pro, we took other attributes from, let's say, for example, my sporting hero growing up was Steven Gerrard. So, I'd conduct myself like Steven Gerrard. I'd want to look like him. I'd want to dress like him. But the most important thing was the ethos that we took, away from those people, which I think is unique. And it's also pretty much the same as how you took, things away from your heroes.
Yeah, you kind of used to dress up and do the same moves as what that guy do, kind of when he scored a try. Those kind of things, those are the things that you will always remember. Those, little games you played in the backyard. That's, basically how I grew up with the game and kind of fell in love with, obviously playing a sport with your mates, same as soccer or football. It is something that you play with your mates and everyone can take part and have fun. And, I think one of the big things is obviously building friendships within the sport and within the rugby. And, those friendships last forever,
Yeah, I think, Francois, I know we're still on sport, but, interestingly enough, people often ask me, like, how are you able to go to another continent and start a business? And my answer is always simple. It's, do you know 5 people in this country, or can you meet 5 people in this country? And once you meet those 5 people, you ask them directly, I need you to introduce me to 5 people. And as your network grows, so do you grow, and it's in all aspects of life, whether you're looking for, to build an emotional life or, to build a life in business or to build a life in sport or whatever it might be. Life really is about network, family and friends. So, it's very interesting that you mention it like that.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think with just another thing, I think doesn't matter what profession you are in. I think nothing when it comes to growth happens within your comfort zone. I think, like you say, you go to a foreign country like Arizona, if you can meet 5 people, you literally have to go outside your comfort zone and meet, put yourself out there, meet 5 people and do your thing. Otherwise, nothing is going to come of it. And I think it's the same with basically anything out there. Same with rugby. You got to push, do the things that other people don't want to do or put in the extra work. I know it sounds stupid, but, put the extra training in or, things that people don't see, to become better or try and be a level better than anyone else.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as the hard yards. I think it's as simple as you got to get up every day, as dedicated as can be and as hungry as can be, and the reality is you're only as good as your last day or you're only as good as your last check. And in sport, the saying is you're only as good as your last game, right? So it's amazing how these correlations play out. So let's, talking about that, let's talk about how you transitioned into becoming a professional. So you're this kid, you're growing up, you're playing at Paul Roos, and then you're now moving towards being a pro. What does that feel like and what does it take? Like, tell us about it.
Obviously, Paul Roos is a massive rugby school. I captained, the first team in my matric year and obviously being, very proud of that. Even up until that stage, you don't know that you're going to turn professional. For me, it was all about having fun and doing so with your mates in school. Close to the end of matric, you start thinking about maybe academies and you start hearing rumors of agents or, offers and things to get into academies because you got a talent. And I think that's when things starts getting real, when you can kind of making a career out of this. So yeah, that's when things started out for me. The first year after school, I went to the Western Province Academy in Stellenbosch, and I kind of played under 19, under 21, and Senior Currie Cup. That was in 2007. And yeah, from that point on, you kind of know there was no studying, no nothing like that. It was fully focused on rugby to develop you into becoming a pro and to see that, if you can, become a pro and make a career out of it.
Amazing.
So Francois, man, yeah, that's amazing, man. Like, your story is very inspiring. It's incredible, and the fact that we are having this conversation with you is truly incredible. So for me, what's striking is that you had the opportunity and the privilege of representing our nation on the world stage. And I think you notched about 50 caps for the Boks, which is truly incredible. And for every kid growing up, whether you end up being a professional or not, you dream of wearing your country's colors on the global stage. And bro, you ended up doing that, and you didn't just do that on 1 or 2 occasions or 5 occasions. You did it on almost like 50 times or whatever. So just tell me about that experience when you first donned that green and gold of the Springboks. How was that experience like when you got that call up, and then when you joined, the team or the squad or whatever, your first game, and eventually for you to almost do 50 games? How was your experience with the Boks?
Oh, bro, it's almost something. I always describe it as something like skydiving. Unless you are there and you're doing it, you can't describe that to someone else. You physically have to do it yourself. So incredible. It's something, like you say, you grow up wanting to represent your country, and that's why, you want to represent, you want to play rugby at the highest level, and that's ultimately, to play for your country. And obviously, when I started playing professional, that was the ultimate goal and dream. And I've been so blessed to be able to, obviously a lot of hard work, got put into it. And, but, I've also had the opportunity, to be able to get into the Springboks, and I think I took that opportunity and made good use of it. But I think the first test for me was I obviously toured with the Springboks before, and the feeling that you have after you've played your first game for the Springboks, compared to before where you've been on tour with them and never played, is the most incredible feeling. My first, cap for the Springboks was, I got it at the end of the year tour. And that was, the 21st of September, 2009. And it's obviously a day I would never forget. It was in Italy, and I think I played about 5 or 4 minutes. But it's, like I say, it's something you can never, it's a feeling that will always stay with me. And I think for, every other Springbok or person who's represented their country, it will stay that, it will be exactly the same. It was the most incredible feeling to be part of such a special, occasion. And, every single person and human being that's been in that position, in that jersey before me, it was just basically trying to, to honor the jersey and in some kind of level do it justice,
Amazing. I just got goosebumps just hearing your answer, because I put myself there. I pictured myself in your shoes in that moment, that experience, and the fact that you remember the date. I think have you tatted that date on you?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, 23rd September 2009, right?
Yeah.
Incredible. So Francois, I think last week you and I were having a business catch up, and we were on Zoom or FaceTime or whatever. And I think it was a day after one of your big games over the weekend, and I was alarmed to see your face, bro, you look like you had gone 12 rounds with Mayweather or some shit, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, some people asked me if I was in a car accident. It wasn't great.
So it was so hectic, man. And I was like, and then I quickly remember, damn, my boy is a rugby player. So sometimes we forget how fierce rugby is. It's really competitive. It's really hardcore. And You know what I mean? Like, you just got to bring your A game all the time. So what I wanted to ask you, in the years that you've played rugby, who are some of the fiercest competitors you've ever faced, and this is whether you're in the Springbok setup or in, your other teams or whatever, because obviously we know how fierce the All Blacks are, you know what I mean? Like, we grew up like fearing them,
Yeah.
But like, who are some of the fiercest competitors that you've ever, competed with?
I would say, obviously, the All Blacks, I faced them quite a few times, and obviously a massive honor. But I would say, obviously, a lot of people would say this, but I think Richie McCaw is one of the toughest guys and, the fiercest competitors, of the game. Definitely for me. I think I've played against quite a few people, in my time, and obviously for the Springboks, and played against some incredible players, and I still do, being overseas. But it's, rugby is obviously, like you say, it's tough. One of our teammates, got into just a strange position on the field in a tackle, and he was paralyzed on the field. And that's the scary part, is you never know when something like that can happen. And obviously the funny thing about it is, whenever, or certainly for me, whenever I go on the field, I never ever think of getting injured. I can't have that thought in my head that I might, get injured or get hurt or something like that, because I think that'll throw the whole process, my motivation and just everything out. I don't think I would be able to perform. So, you kind of feel the bumps and bruises afterwards, and sometimes, like this past weekend, I feel completely fine. The weekend before, literally felt like I was in a car crash, but that happens. But definitely, I would say, coming back to the fiercest competitor, I would say Richie McCaw. It's usually some of the forwards, someone like Bakkies Botha. I think, everyone can join me in saying that he's most probably one of the hardest and most feared rugby players that's taken the field, and
Bakkies Botha looks like he would knock you the fuck out.
Yeah, I think he's done that quite a few times in his life, and he did it for fun. I think he did those kind of things for fun and smiled and laughed. I think he, when he got a cut on his face, he would just laugh at the other guy, and that's when that's a hard man. That's the man that loves the game, and he loves it when it gets tough and rough up front. So. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't envy you, my brother, but at the same time, I also admire rugby players, more than a lot of other athletes. I know, obviously, every athlete puts a lot of work into their craft, but there's something about rugby, man. It's literally like war. You guys are warriors. So admire the courage and that it takes to actually just step on that field,
Yeah, man. I think I've been blessed with when it comes to injuries. I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 biggish injuries throughout my time. I've had one on my ankle, which I was out 11 months, and a shoulder here and there. And the funny thing is, when you get injured and you go for a scan and they say you're going to get operated on, it's almost normal. And it's funny, but it's just like you accept it and you just want to get it over and done with and start with kind of the rehab process. So after we get operated, literally a few days afterwards, we are back at the club doing rehab to get that process, to get the healing done and to get back on the pitch. And I just think it comes back to putting that extra work in to make sure that I'm in the best condition possible so that I don't get any injuries. And I think it worked for me so far. I think, like I said, I've only had about 3 big injuries and I'm blessed. I'm very thankful for that, because some players come away with massive injuries and, I think it cut their career short. And, yeah, I'm just thankful that I can still play the game, you know?
Yeah, the rugby gods have been watching over you, my brother.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, bro, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, right? So, obviously, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, blah, 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 blah. However, music is a very important part of my life. Like, I mean, you guys know, like, you know, I think you know that I'm obsessed with music. So,
I can vouch for that.
I always see you posting on IG.
yeah. No, I'm obsessed with music. I mean, it's an open secret. But what I do is I also use music to psych myself out. So, for example, if I have a huge board meeting or I have a big presentation or pitch, you know, I have specific songs that I go to. And my ritual is I will play, there's a playlist that I've created of Jay-Z, some of his like biggest tracks, like but like hardcore tracks that psych me up, you know what I mean? And you know, that morning I will bump this shit like in my whip, blah, blah, blah. When I get to the meeting, I'm like, yo, man, show me the money, you know? I'm on that vibe. So what kind of music do you play, if any, when you're trying to psych yourself up for a game? What are some of your go-to tracks that like put you in the zone?
Oh, I love Drizzy, man. No, for me, it's feel-good music. I think whether it's sometimes you're in a different mood before a game, sometimes you want something upbeat, sometimes you want something like Drake. I obviously love Drake, but I think just a positive vibe, something that puts you in a really good mood, you know, a happy mood, because I think when I'm happy but focused, I perform, you know, when you enjoy what you do, when you're in a good mood. And I think that goes for me personally too. I think, you know, it's so different for, you know, for other players and other people. Some people don't listen to music, or some people listen to completely different music. But for me personally, upbeat, positive, you know, Drake is always a good shout. Some house is always good. A little bit of old school.
I see you,
We
brother.
I've experienced a lot of Francois' music taste, and
He loves it.
know,
Come on.
definitely, yeah, I love it, and he's definitely into the hip hop the most, and then the sort of, you know, preparing to go out is more sort of the house time
There
for
we
the house
go.
music.
Of course, it's South African.
Exactly. So gents, you know, like I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about it first and foremost from the position of our company, the athletics, and you know how important management is and how important the ethos is moving forward. And I was sort of relating it to, I was thinking about it in context to Francois and coaches, right? And mentors. So I know, you know, Nick and I, we don't per se have a manager or a coach, but what we often do is reach out to a mentor. And I mean, I have 2 or 3 of them personally. I know Nick has I believe 1 or 2 as well. But essentially, we reach out to them and we have a conversation. And typically, I like to, you know, just get insight. So I'm taking in info. I don't want to, you know, I'm there to listen. I'm a sponge, right? Fly on the wall, sponge, whatever you want to call it. And it always takes me so far, you know. At the end of the day, you are absorbing experience. And I think, you know, for all the young business people, both guys and girls listening out there, you got to get yourself a good mentor or 2, you know. In your network has to be a good mentor too. So coming back to sport, Francois, who would you say was your favorite coach and why?
I mean, you know, it's very true what you say. Mentors are massively important. I think that's where, like you say, you learn, you kind of get molded into, you know, the person and kind of more business brain that you are. But for me, I've worked with a lot of great coaches, and I think my personal favorite would be when I was at Western Province in at Paul Roos. I worked with Davy Snyman, and as a backline player, he developed, mostly my skills, and that's what is most important, to a backline player. And obviously, as a backline player, that's where you have the most fun, is when you do skills and stepping and that kind of thing. So I would definitely say Davie Snyman. He had a massive influence in my life. Growing up, and obviously, developing my skills. And I think one of the most important things in rugby is your 2 feet, and him helping me develop, into a player who's got, I would have said or thought that I've got okay feet on the rugby field. Most definitely my favorite person and coach to have worked with.
No, I think you've got better than okay feet. There's numbers don't lie. So, you can always reference those.
Cheers, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Brother, I know that in every successful person's life, there's an amazing network. And that's really what the question was centered around, because every real top athlete will always talk about a coach who gave them a start, but also taught them the most. They gave them that foundation. I think, and most times it's not coaches at their current club. It's that transition between youth and pro coach. And I think that's exactly what Donnie Snyman was for you, right?
100%. Definitely. And also another coach that gave me, I think this was the coach that gave me the break that I needed. I never played Craven Week at school. And I think for you to be able to become a professional sports, let's say a rugby player, you have to play Craven Week, and then you go on to play Junior World Cup. And then from there on, you usually get, your first contract and stuff. And I never played Craven Week, but I got an opportunity to go to the trials to play, to get into the junior under 19 and under 20 World Cup. And if it wasn't for Mr. Van Niekerk at Paul Roos, I would have never been able to represent my country, at the under 19 and under 20 World Cup. So I think in life, it's such, if I never had that opportunity, I don't think I would have, I kind of know I wouldn't have been here. I think you only need one opportunity. And if you make the most out of that opportunity, in this case, I became a professional rugby player, and I've been playing for 12, 13 years.
That's true. That's very true.
So I am very, very thankful for that opportunity.
Yeah, I think those are two pillars, for a successful life. One is gratitude. So I'd like to say gratitude changes everything. And two, you've got to take every opportunity like it's your last.
100%.
Hearing what you said, I think we need to reach out to both Mr. Snyman and Mr. Van Niekerk and make sure they listen to this, because I think it'll really give them even more meaning. I think that really appreciate that. So, now that you've spent 12, 13 years as a professional, not playing, but as a professional, what would you say, or what advice would you give to aspiring athletes to make them successful on and off the field?
Well, if I look at myself, I would say, kind of from the start, I would say just have fun in whatever you do, because from when I can remember, I never knew that I was going to make a career out of it, but I always had fun. I had fun and I enjoyed, what I did. I had fun with my friends, and later on that became a career. I think in anything in life, if you don't enjoy what you do, you have to stop, because it's going to be torture and nothing good is going to come of it. So I think for young athletes getting into it, obviously there's the hard work and, always work on your craft and this and that. But most important is to have fun. I think when you have fun, you automatically do well in anything. And there's all the serious stuff about training hard and always pushing and this and that. But when you're a young athlete, just have fun, man. Enjoy it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you, bro. I think like for all young guys, all young girls out there, like, we've been through a very interesting time with the pandemic, unprecedented, definitely in our lifetime. And I think, that's part of our mission at Dow Athletics, is just to give people a different perspective.
Just be, man.
No one should be doing anything that does not fulfill them. And I know that it's difficult at times. I know at times we have to do things we don't want to do to get by, but we need to do whatever we can to push through those moments and just, live life to the fullest.
100%, because you never know when it's going to be your last.
Absolutely. And to echo your sentiments, gents, more than ever, I think people must take this opportunity from the pandemic. Obviously, it's hurt a lot of people, devastated lives, changed people's lives forever. But I think it allows for introspection, and I personally wouldn't urge anyone to do things that they're not passionate about. Life is just too damn short now, don't waste your time doing things that don't fulfill you. And then you really have to do a lot of work on yourself, a lot of work on yourself, do a lot of healing, and then eventually find out what your purpose in life is, and then pursue things and ventures, etc., that are obviously in line with your purpose. I think that should be your mission, and I think that's our mission at Dow Athletics, obviously, And, Francois, I think you are an embodiment of that, because you are extremely passionate about rugby. Rugby makes people happy. It gives people joy. It's an amazing thing to be a part of. But I also know that you're a passionate businessman, and you have, real ambitions in that space. Can you tell us about why, even in your prime as a rugby player from a couple of years ago to now, you've always taken liking to business. You always had a few business ventures on the go. Why are you involved in business, and what are some of the ventures that you've been involved in, and what are some of the lessons you've learned in the process?
Yeah, I think, obviously as a professional sportsman, we are so blessed to be able, to network, first of all, with, at functions or wherever it might be. You meet the most interesting and, biggest businessmen around. And if you are switched on, you make the most of the opportunities, and, you start networking with people. And like I say, you get so many of these opportunities. And I think a lot of people, maybe they don't think like that, but I think it's massively important that you take those opportunities, because rugby's got a shelf life, and it's not going to go on forever. I think it's most definitely we definitely get a unbelievable opportunity to not only invest in business, but to start off, because I think everyone wants to be associated with someone famous, or someone out there, someone who's playing for the Springboks or representing their country, or some hero to someone. So I think that is definitely something. And I think most important for me is it's not necessarily about the business. I think it's about the company and the business partners, so to say. I think, obviously with you guys in Dow Athletics, it's the most important, aspect of it, who you go in business with. I think if you have a strong partnership and strong relationships between one another, you understand one another, I think that's massively crucial. I think, I've been fortunate enough to obviously start, get into business with Yanni at Gold Street, and that was obviously for us, it was a massive learning curve through our time, but it was school fees, and it was an unbelievable experience. And I think it set us up for for bigger things. And obviously I had the opportunity to get into business with you guys, and I think I couldn't have asked for any better business partners than you guys. You guys, we are all different but so alike. I think we all sit on, Yanni's in Arizona, you in SA, I'm in the UK, but we're all completely on the same level. And I think that's what it's all about, is who you go in business with, your business partners, the relationship. Because I think when things fall apart, when you are in a business with someone, I think you can kiss that goodbye. That's done.
Absolutely. I think for me personally, it's an honor to be in business with you, gent. Obviously, I admire both you cats, and like you said, we share a lot in terms of values, because that's, for me, that's the key. It's the values,
100%.
And then the vision of the business, and then the work ethic, etc.
Yeah.
I think if you have those ingredients and qualities in place, you can literally get to the moon, with the peeps that you're working with. Like, that's what I believe in. So would you say then, Francois, that your post-retirement plan is clear?
Very, very clear.
Your post-retirement plan is to be a business mogul, invested in multiple ventures, operating in multiple territories across the world. Would you say that's your post-retirement plan?
My brother. Yeah, 100%. I think it's important. And
I smell a lot of money in your future, brother.
Yeah, let's go. No, for me, it's not about the money. It's hard to describe, man. But for me, I wake up every morning with a burning desire to be super successful. And to some people, when you describe what you're going to be one day or what you want to achieve, they laugh at you. And for me, I love that, man. I love nothing more than that, because for me, that gives me extra fuel to do better. And I'm obviously, working on quite a few things. Always looking for new opportunities. But in saying that, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to be involved in too much, because you need to be hands-on in whatever you do. I think if you've got too many things on the go, you might, kind of slack in one of the companies or one of the positions you are in. And, I want to be hands-on with everything I do. And I want to make sure that I know whatever I do, I want to make sure that I know that role and I can execute and grow whatever. Let's say, for instance, Tau. We want to grow this into a massive, massive empire. And they're going to see us on the Forbes list. Don't worry about that. Soon.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
Can we get the what you call that? Like in the club when you get that. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. You see, I'm not scared to say these things, because I kind of look at it from a point where if I wake up every single morning with a burning desire to be successful, it must mean something. Like, some days you feel a bit flat and you this, but that desire to be successful, and it's not about the money. The money comes later. When you enjoy and when you are passionate about what you do, the money will come. But it's my desire to be successful in whatever role that might be, in whichever company. And I'm not going to start something kind of just to take part. We want to take over. That's it. End. Want to take over.
Oh, that's powerful. You don't want to start something just to take part. You want to start something so that you can take over.
That's it.
I love that.
And most important, with you boys.
That's a quote.
That's a fucking quote, my boy. That's clean. So
let's go.
So I know it's not about the money, but it's about the money. And if you know, you know. It's fine. I want to elaborate.
100%.
The beauty of money is that it buys you freedom. It gives you choices. It gives you opportunities. You're able to also just really just enjoy life. I think that's what life is short.
100%.
You know, like it's there to be enjoyed. And, you know, if you work hard the way you have worked hard, you deserve the finer things in life. And if there's one thing I know about
Yeah.
you, Francois, is that you're all about that. Like, you know, you love dope shit. You love fly stuff.
Why not enjoy the journey along the way? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Freedom.
So, bro, I know you're into like dope whips, you know, sports cars, etc., etc. You know, so let's have a little bit of fun with that. You know,
Yeah.
What are you currently driving? I know there's a lot of people listening here, you know, that are like, sharp, you're an amazing athlete, you got all these Springbok cabs. Sure, we see you, but what's the lifestyle looking like, Playboy? What are you whipping right now? And what are some of the other whips that you've whipped in the past? You know, like to put us on into your, you know, your whip game, because your whip game
Yeah.
is mean, bro.
Yeah, I got the lamb truck now, man. Just kidding. No, yeah, I think one of my biggest passions in life is cars. I've never owned or driven a car for any other reason, because for me, it gives me, it's an adrenaline rush. It puts a massive smile on my face. And yeah, it's a passion. It's a massive, I've always had a massive passion for cars. Yeah, I've obviously have quite a few mates. One of my good friends, Justin DeVaris, who's got Daytona in South Africa.
Shout out to Daytona. Shout out to Daytona.
Shout out to Daytona. Yeah, he's got some of the most prestigious brands. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to, you know, to drive some amazing cars throughout, you know, growing up and throughout my career, you know, obviously with the rugby and playing and I've had some nice cars, I would say. And
What are some of the other cars you've whipped in the past?
Tell us, we want to know.
I've had a Lamb.
Model, year, color.
I murder everything out, boy. Suspension, aftermarket wheels.
Well, let me cut you off there for a sec. I want to share something.
Toyota gang.
With the listeners. I want to share something with the listeners, something amazing. So, Francois mentioned in sort of, I think, maybe one or two questions back, he mentioned that he has a burning desire to be successful. And I think when we met probably in 13, 14, he said to me, he's like, and keep in mind, I was probably about 18 then. He said, mate, I will have a Lamborghini shortly. I'm going to have an Aventador shortly. And I thought, okay, great. I mean, you know, in my mind, I was like, a Lamborghini Aventador is so far from where we are right now, you know. And I remember he said that, and I was like, cool. I mean, like, I know it could be possible, and I have, you know, the same burning desire. But when we met, we just clicked because finally I met someone who was like, anything is possible, you know, and actually spelt it out, wrote it in black and white and said it. You know, when they say, you know, like, say it with your chest, we would say it with our chest, like, I will get a yacht, I will get an Aventador, I will get a jet, you know. And to find someone who had that mindset was insane. But the most important thing was, at the time, we were driving Toyotas, right?
Let's go.
We were driving Toyotas, and we used to call each other Toyota gang, right?
Toyota boys. Toyota boys.
So we still call each other that. Toyota gang, boy.
So yeah, so the main point is, wherever you are, right? Wherever you are, you gotta look forward, and you just can't stop, man. Like, just keep pushing forward, and it's all possible.
Yeah, till you achieve that, and then on to the next. So, like I say, yeah, it's always been a massive passion of mine, and I'm very fortunate and obviously very thankful that I've been able to, you know, to drive these cars, because, you know, you can't get too attached to it, because, you know, you don't want to sit and lose. So the way I see it is, doesn't matter if it's a nice car, obviously to a certain amount, but if you have contacts or know people in the industry and they can find something at the right price and you can sell it off a few months after and you can make money out of it, why not enjoy it?
Absolutely, bro. So I think for me, the key nugget out of this, guys, it's not necessarily about being materialistic. It's not necessarily about putting money ahead of your values. I think it's very important that your values come first, your principles comes first. Integrity is very important in business and life. You break bread with your homies, you get rich together or whatever, and spoil yourself,
For sure,
the
man.
homies went from Toyotas to Lambo trucks, I'm feeling that. That's
100%.
clean. So Francois, when you pull up,
When my team wins, I win, my man.
yeah, Francis, just put me on real quick. So Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, maybe when you don't have a game, you're out there in the streets of the UK, and you pull up in a Lambo truck, looking sick. You're playing your Drake. I'm sure you're playing Dreezy or whatever in your whip, and there's a bunch of shorties, on the street corner or by the traffic lights. And then you just pull up all that swag. What do they say, boy? What are they saying to you? Surely they're like, yo, what's good? I need to ride with you, brother. What does it say?
Yeah, I think the people, it's always nice to see the reaction, from people, especially admiring the car. I don't ever want to take any credit for anything, but it's nice to see the reactions you get from people
Absolutely
out there. It's like I said, I'm very thankful and blessed to be able to drive a car like this.
Yeah.
But for me, it was never about being materialistic. It's one of my biggest passions growing up since I can remember. So that's what it's all about. It's about enjoying it, living out your passion.
Absolutely. And you've earned it, brother. You deserve it. So, take it to the top. So, bro, in addition to whips, you also really into fashion. You've been a co-owner of Gold Street, which is one of my favorite brands of the past 5-10 years. And I'm not just saying this because you and Yanni are my business partners, but Yanni knows this. I was copying Gold Street before I knew him. I still have a whole bunch of that stuff in my in my closet. I still rock it till this day. But other than that, you've always been stylish, bro. So, and people just need to go to your IG, and when you answer the next question, just put people onto your IG handle, just in case they are slumbering. But yeah, you've always been into fashion. You're very stylish. How would you describe your fashion sense, your style, and what are some of the favorite brands that you're rocking right now? What are some of the brands that you feel? Because I know you're into a lot of super super cool brands, whether it's from the States or European or Asian or whatever. So what would you say your style is? How would you describe it?
Easy going, man. I think for me it's to feel confident and comfortable. Don't overthink it. If I'm confident in what I'm wearing, I don't know what kind of style I have, but it's when I feel confident and comfortable in what I wear. I don't think you should overthink it. Just rock whatever you want to rock. Do you. You shouldn't necessarily care so much about what people think about what you obviously do get judged and stuff, but for me it's about feeling, and sometimes you wear something that not all people are going to like, but it's about being confident in what you're wearing. I think one of my most favorite brands that's still dropping is, let's just get a round of applause for Tao. I think that is going to be massive. I definitely can't. I definitely can't wait for the Tao range to drop. It's going to be huge, and I know you boys have put a lot of effort into it, and people will still see, they'll soon see what's been put in kind of behind the scenes and the effort that's been put into this brand. So definitely very, very excited about that. But yeah, I'm mainly whatever I feel comfortable and confident in, I mix it up, a little bit of everything. I mean, I've been on that best dressed GQ list, so I mean,
tell them, my boy, tell them. They need to know.
Nah. That was also, it was amazing to be nominated, but yeah.
These are facts.
It was cool.
These are facts, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry. Let's move on to what I know is one of your favorite hobbies, travel, right? You and I have obviously been to a few continents together on some amazing trips. Let's talk about your favorite cities. And along with that, tell us about an experience that you've had somewhere that was unique and perhaps funny or shaped you.
305, one of my favorites. But yeah, I've been lucky enough to travel, all over, especially with work, playing Super Rugby. We used to travel to New Zealand and Australia. Obviously, Australia is was one of my favorite places to go. Sydney and Brisbane, Coogee Beach, unbelievable place. And obviously been to Argentina, been all over, but I think one of my favorite places, definitely, obviously I've been there with you, is Miami. I've been with you to New York, Dubai. But yeah, I think one of my favorites, definitely Miami. I think it's such a multicultural city, and I think if you step into the art district, you see what it's all about. I think one of the best times I've had in Miami was at one of my mates' birthdays. It was, most probably one of the best birthdays I've ever been to, and that was in Miami. But yeah, definitely one of my most favorite cities.
Okay, nice, brother, nice. So just sort of closing
and then obviously the island life, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
the Maldives,
Greece,
it's completely the opposite. But yeah, Greece, definitely. Slovakian pita, that kind of thing,
Yeah, the motherland. So you know what, bro? Let's just wrap it up. Let's share with the listeners your mantra. So, in short, what's your life mantra?
I think for me, it's pretty simple. Just to be really, really successful in everything I do. I want to give everything I do my 100% and be super successful in that. Always try to be, but along the way, inspire people to, to give their everything and to be, whether it's to show people that they can make it or give them a bit of hope or, to inspire someone to, to take something on or to take that leap of faith or step, then so be it. But yeah, to inspire people and definitely to be successful in kind of everything I do.
Yeah, I think the amazing part of our partnership altogether between you, Nick, and I is that we share the same sentiments. I mean, that's the goal. And I think to inspire people, I've witnessed it firsthand is a beautiful thing. Changing someone's life could happen in so many ways. So we definitely aligned there.
I think that's also why, we get along, not only get along so well, is why we are going to be so successful. I'm just putting it out there. We're going to be so successful in Towers because we're all working towards the same goal. We all got the same mindset. And it's very, very rare that you find someone that you can relate to on that level, that you have got that same drive, that same mindset, and you bounce off one another. And when we're in the same room, even not in the same room, when we're on a Zoom call, on a meeting, we got that energy flowing. And that's super, super rare, but, something so, so special. So I'm putting it out there. It's going to be mad successful.
From your lips to God's ears, brother. Let's go.
Amen.
Absolutely. So, gents, I think we've reached the hour mark, and I'll wrap it up by saying this has been a very inspiring conversation. Francois, my brother, you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration to millions and millions of people out there. You should never underplay your contribution to the game. A lot of people look up to you. You started at the bottom, brother, and you grinded your way to the top. What I've learned from this conversation is, the power of obviously hard work. You need a really, really good, drive to succeed in life, in sport. But what I love about you is, you put values and principles and ethics really, really, really high, And I think any aspiring athlete that's listening to this conversation, if there's something that you must take away from Francois, is that, your career in sport has a limited shelf life. Unfortunately, you cannot play football till you're 90 years old. Even Cristiano Ronaldo, at some point, will have to, retire. It's just facts of life. So what you really, really need is, while you're doing your thing, whether it's football or rugby, etc., you already need to start working on your post-retirement plan. And, if there's one person that's doing that, it's obviously you, Francois. You have that on lock. And I really believe that you're going to be, a billionaire one day. I really believe that. And not just in rands, in dollars or pounds, inshallah. So it's really important that you must have that post-retirement plan, But, business should not just be about money. That's another thing I've learned from you. Business, should be about purpose. It should be about, fulfillment. You need to fulfill your purpose, and you need to really, really be passionate about what you're doing. So it was an amazing conversation. So guys, I just want to remind everyone, DAO is on social media. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. It's DAO, TAU, athletics with an S at the end. Follow us on the gram. Follow us on Twitter. Like we said, there's amazing things that are coming up, on DAO in the next couple of months. We promise to blow your minds away, So this is episode 2 of Africa Made. I'm signing out from Johannesburg, the city that never sleeps. Shout out to my homies, Yanni Chris out there in Scottsdale, Arizona. Shout out to my homie, Francois out there in the UK. Thanks for listening. Tell everybody about Africa Made. DAO coming very soon. Salute. Much love.
Salute. Thank you, gents.